I had just made it rain all over the place. So at this point, I panic.
You have a whole nother life I don't know. But I want to know.
Claudia?
Damn, Erica.
If I were sober enough at that point.
Oh, you was drunk.
Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.
Hey everybody, we are back with our first episode of 2025. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
This is another episode of Accidentally Informed.
Because we can't guarantee that you'll learn something, but you might.
And we're going to try.
Yes. I'm
your host, Claudia Jordan, and my beautiful co-host, Erica Cobb.
Thank you.
You're really pretty.
You're really pretty. You're like super pretty.
I was in the 90s and early 2000s.
Oh, girl,
I had a good
stop.
run. I'm good.
Stop it.
Listen, I had a great run. I had 47 years of being kind of flawless. So it's time to let the next generation have it and just pass the torch. I'm fine.
Claudia is the most self-deprecating beauty queen I have ever met in my entire life.
It disarms the people.
Oh my gosh. Anywho.
So how was your New Year?
Fabulous. Did a little house party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cute. It was cute.
Okay. This is my first New Year without a date in a long time.
Yeah.
I hung with the girls, but it was fun. We had a good time. Like always, I have great friends.
Good.
So listen, let's just dive right into this. So this particular segment is going to be short because, again, it's holidays. I want you to spend time with your families, but check in with us for a little something. So this episode, it's a segment, Accidentally Ludacris.
What you gonna do? Act a fool.
Because there's a lot of ludicrous stuff out there in these
all the
streets.
time.
So let's get into this. I don't know if you saw this, but I want to ask you the question. Does a man visit the strip club for the men or the women?
Well, if it's a gentleman's club, he's going for the women.
One would think, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at what Cam Newton had to say about this topic.
Oh, God.
I never went to a strip club for women. I always went to strip clubs for guys.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No
I told
homo.
you, we went to a strip club.
No diddy. I'm a competitor. I wasn't gonna spend no money if I didn't see nobody else spending
spending no
money.
money.
As soon as I seen somebody thinking that they got money, okay,
Yeah.
you spending 5, I'm gonna spend 6. If you
Yeah.
gonna spend 10, I'm gonna spend 15. And then we're gonna have a rain off.
Yeah, I love it.
So-
I seen you do that in Onyx.
So that's my whole thing. It's like, I don't go to strip clubs for chicks, even though I want decoration. I was a competitor, still am a competitor, to
Yeah,
think
I
like,
get
nigga,
that.
you think you got it, but you don't got it.
What?
What say you?
What? Okay, so basically, he's just trying to flex on other men by proving that he has more money than they do,
Impress.
which honestly just seems like a recipe for bankruptcy. But yeah, I've never thought of that before, but I guess it probably makes some sense. Also, it depends on if you're a strip club goer, like occasionally.
Do you
or
go
if
to
this
the
is your
strip clubs, Erica?
Yeah. Actually,
Often?
I don't go to the strip clubs often anymore. I used to go to the strip clubs a lot.
Do you and your hubby go?
We haven't gone in a long time. But
Does
yeah,
he make it rain with that oil and gas money?
No, no, he does not make it. No, that's not the type of strip club goer my husband is.
Okay.
But yeah, so we used to go a lot because there was a strip club that was down the street, and they had like a private area that we would go into, and it was like a nightclub. So you could like play pool. There was, you got your drinks, everything. Like the bartenders knew us. So we would hang out there all the time. But that's not even my best strip club story.
Ooh, give me one.
So when I was in LA, this was back in like 2002 or something. And I went to a strip club with a few friends. And one of my guy friends, I asked him, I had $100 bill. I gave him the 100 and I was like, hey, can I get, because he had stacks of singles. So I'm like, hey, will you give me one of these stacks of singles? So he's like, oh, keep it, and he gave me the 100 singles. So I start to, and keep in mind, this is like wee hours of the morning. And I go up to the stage and there's a woman there and she's like doing her thing. And I start making it rain. Well, as I'm halfway through this making it rain situation, this big dude is standing next to me. And he was like, yeah, I like your style. And I look up and it was Suge Knight. And I was like, are you Suge Knight? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, baby girl. And I was like, he's like, but yeah, you do it. And I'm looking around, there's like all this chaos. And this is like, if I didn't have 5 other people to corroborate this story, I would have thought that I dreamt it because it was very, very early in the morning. But what had happened was my friend had not given me singles. He had given me hundreds. And I had just made it rain all over the place. So at this point, I panic.
How many thousands of dollars was that?
I mean, 10, 20, something like that. Yeah. So I had made it rain. And that's the reason why Suge apparently was very impressed with my antics.
So yeah, he's like, she's balling.
Yeah.
I could use one like that on my twat.
Which was the craziest thing because I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent when I got back home to Chicago. And here I am just giving out thousands of dollars to some random girl on a stage. So at this point, I panic and I go to pick up the money.
Oh no. Now you stealing.
And then security is like stopping me. So I have like what's left in my hands. And then I see all of this on the ground and I go over to my friend and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, you didn't tell me. Like, I had no idea. And that's my big strip club with Suge Knight story.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at what you did because you were in good faith thinking you was trying to help a young struggling single mom trying to finish college to, pay for school. Yeah. Right? So you were just being generous with somebody else's money.
Yes.
But the way you steal in a strip club, you don't, once it hits the ground, that's looked down upon.
Yeah.
When the guy gives you the money and says, here, baby girl, you go, okay. You put one rack in your purse.
Yeah.
And then you do that and you siphon. From what I heard, I've never done that, but I hear that that's what people do. So if you would have just like siphoned, you could have paid your rent for like 2-3 months.
Claudia?
Damn, Erica.
If I were sober enough at that point
you was drunk,
to have noticed the difference between singles and hundreds, I would have done that. Again, I did not know how I was going to pay my own rent when I got back home, but here I am.
Did you think of dancing?
I should have.
I wish I could dance. I wish I could clap it. I wish my mother had more ass that she passed down to me because I can't do any of that stuff. And those girls make so much money.
They make so much money.
So, okay, so that's a cute story and you almost got arrested. So that's your near felony story. Now we both have one. I feel like we can be cool. Like we can move forward now. I can't be the only one out here with like a felony story. Now back to Cam Newton.
Okay.
He's saying the quiet part out loud. Because for years there's been a transition in clubs where men are really out there for the other men. Not saying that they're gay, they're trying to date these other men. But I think they care more about what the other men think in the clubs than they do of the women. And I think he's absolutely right in what he's saying for his life. The women were just decoration to him. Because I've been in clubs for decades, okay? Not still now, but I did do a couple bids in clubs, the club life. And I remember being out in Vegas where I saw a bunch of football players from the San Diego Chargers, right? we were in Vegas. And no women were on the couch. It was all men just kind of leaning on each other and just like showing off, filming each other, filming themselves, taking pictures of themselves. And the women were just there like not being hit on, not being talked to, not being flirted with. They were just there for the decoration. So he's really saying what's happening. It sounds funny when we say it like, wait, pause. But he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's the vibe in the clubs now. They're not hitting on the girls like that.
Well, I think the same, maybe it's equal at this point because women really don't get dressed up for other men.
That's true.
Like they get dressed up for other women.
Yeah.
It's like that's who appreciates it.
So you wore this for me today?
I did.
Very pretty. It's very
Thank
cute.
you.
Very
Thank
cutesy,
you.
very demure. Yeah. It's cute. So is this a unattractive thing for a man to say?
I think if I'm his financial advisor, it's very unattractive.
Okay.
If I'm someone in his life who feels like maybe that money could be allocated towards more important, pressing things, I'm unattracted. If I'm someone who's there for more of a season than a lifetime, less party. You know, I guess it just depends on what function you have in that man's life.
I thought for a long time that men care more about the opinions of their boys than of their women a lot of times.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's clearly an immature man, but it's not like an anomaly where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe he thinks like that. Like, I'm not even like coming down on him like that about it because I don't think he's alone. I think a lot of men do think like that. And if you've been in a club as of late, you will see the battle of the bottles and the bigger signs. Who has the bigger, huge bottle? Who has the most sparklers? Who has the biggest like spectacle? Who's the biggest spectacle in the club? Mm-hmm. And women, we like the sparkles and the glitter, and we like that sign of wealth, right? But I do see men, like that's what gets the men going. Like, oh, okay, he thinks he got more money than me, so let me one up him. And that all just benefits the club.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did bottle service for years at
Really?
nightclubs in Chicago. Yeah. I
You have a whole nother life I don't know about.
I know.
I want to know.
I came
You
of
was
age.
stealing from strippers and you a bottle service girl? I love it.
No, I came of age in Chicago nightclubs, and that's when mega clubs were still very much a thing in Chicago. And I'm sure there's bigger clubs, but these were like massive multi-level clubs. And we would play tables against each other.
So you were part of
I
it,
do,
so-
yeah. So I do understand that.
Do you tell
especially-
them? Do you say, hey, that ball player over there just bought 10 bottles. What you trying to do?
What I would do is, especially when they got into champagne, like generally you would only have X amount of certain types of champagne, like a Cristal Rosé. You would only maybe have 5 in house. So if one table orders it and then another table orders it, then you start to like, well, how many are you thinking about ordering? Because I only have X amount. Do you want me to reserve this? This table over here said that, so things like that. And then before you know it, your bar back is running to the next club to get more bottles of Cristal Rosé. I know this is very specific, but that's specifically what happened on a rainy night in downtown Chicago. And it was one of the biggest nights I've ever had. So yeah, you do things like that.
What kind of
for
money
sure.
did you make?
So
I wanna be all up in
back
your business.
back then
Best night.
Making under 1,000 was a bad night, but I also wasn't like the point bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Like point bartenders, like VIP cocktail waitresses, like people who had the big tables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were racking it in. Like I had a girlfriend who really taught me pretty much everything I knew. May she rest, Christy, my girl. But she would tell me, like, she taught me how to work the system. And she was actually one who got a tip. I think it was 10 grand one night from one customer. Maybe it was 20. I don't know. It made the news. It was such a big deal that it ended up making the news. So yeah, she did quite well.
I like that, and I know we have to go, but it's like sometimes these same men that are spending all this money to impress other men have kids that have school clothes that have not been bought.
See,
Have brakes that are still squeaky. Haven't had a root canal in years, haven't had a dental cleaning, and you're out here like doing all of that.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, ugh, yuck, you know?
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna lie, y'all. In my 20s and 30s, that would definitely catch my eye because I was a little bit ghetto.
You were in the moment.
I was in
we
the
were
moment.
all in the moment.
I wasn't ghetto. I was just young.
Yeah, we thought the party would last forever. It does, just in very different, more responsible ways.
But Cam, thanks for letting us know how men really think, because I feel like it is very common. And you actually said the quiet part out loud that we've been noticing. But I just worry about this trend of men caring less about what women are thinking about them. I just feel like we're becoming obsolete to them because they're just on the couch with their boys, swag surfing, and like the girls are looking like, "Hello, look at me, hi, hello, no, okay." All right, y'all. This has been an Accidentally Ludacris short for the holiday season. We will be back next week with a full-on episode. We can catch the entire show. Make sure you spread the word, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tell a friend because we're trying to get this thing real popping so we can be up in the club dropping that money so we can get attention from
Swag surfing.
who we gotta get attention from. The men don't look at us anymore. Okay, let me go have some more eggnog with some liquor in it. Bye, y'all. We'll see you next week.